Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, welcoming you to Breeders' Cup Focus. It's that time of year again where DRF is spotlighting the Breeders' Cup, the Classic, of course, the big race on the two-day extravaganza. Let's take a look at DRF's top 10 as ranked by preliminary morning line odds. And your morning line odds maker for the Classic for DRF is Brad Free. Head on over to drf.com/breeders-cup for all the latest news and notes for all of the Breeders' Cup races. Knicks Go has been on fire, Mike. 5-2 on Brad's preliminary morning line. The question for Knicks Go, twofold. Does he really want a mile and a quarter? And does he really want a mile and a quarter in a race with several other speed horses?
Yeah, they are very big questions for this horse. I think another question for him, Dan, could just be, I realize that, each of his last three wins are very comfortable victories, but, two of those three races just at, spots where he absolutely could not lose against, horses that were well overmatched by him. His Whitney two-back was very good, though. I guess he is the horse to beat in a lot of ways, but there could be plenty of things working against him come Breeders' Cup Day.
Let's watch his effort in the Whitney 2 starts back at Saratoga. This coming off the heels of a huge Beyer performance in the Cornhusker at Prairie Meadows, and he took no prisoners in this race. Knicks Go went right to the front, stayed well off of the rail. You see Maxfield, who's also part of the top 10, in between horses in the Godolphin Blue. He'll get second, but no match for Knicks Go, who bounced out of this race to beat an overmatched field in the Lucas Classic in his final prep.
Yeah, his final prep was just an easy win for this horse. He never had to get down to serious business, but he was very good in the Whitney against, some horses that he might meet again in the Breeders' Cup. It does sort of feel like, Dan, that the main competition for him that day is probably going to come from the 3-year-olds. 3 of the top 5 are 3-year-olds.
And one of them is the Belmont Stakes winner, the number 2, Essential Quality. Not only did he win the Belmont, defeating Hot Rod Charlie in a thrilling race, but he won the Travers in his most recent start. Let's watch Essential Quality take care of business in the Midsummer Derby. He sat a nice trip just off the lead of Midnight Bourbon. He catches the solid Midnight Bourbon, and he's going to be getting away at the end. Essential Quality, one of his greatest assets, Mike, is his tactical speed. He can adapt to any kind of pace scenario. If the pace is hot in the Breeders' Cup, well, he's probably going to be sitting in mid-pack and loving it.
Yeah, it might help him more than it helps anybody else. We'll see. He's obviously a really good horse, shows up every time, sat, closer to a slow pace in that Travers we just watched, prior to that, a couple starts prior to that in the Belmont Stakes, a much faster pace, but he was, sort of unfazed by that and still won by outrunning Hot Rod Charlie to the wire. He's just a real nice horse, Dan, and it feels like he's going to get another good trip at the Breeders' Cup.
While Knicks Go might have some questions concerning the mile and a quarter distance, Max Player, third on our list, has no such questions. He's won his last 2 races at the mile and a quarter, including this effort in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. And I just find it fascinating, Mike, that this horse has found tactical speed in his last 2 races, and they've propelled him to career best efforts. He did have a nice, easy trip against a field that's a little bit weaker than he's going to face in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but boy, he's good right now.
Yeah, he's stepping up in class for sure for this Breeders' Cup, but he's doing it at the right time. And as you mentioned, it's the newfound tactical speed that's really made a difference for this horse, because he's had potential from day one. But, earlier on in his career, he was just sort of that one-run closing kind of horse who would get outrun early and then have to pass a bunch of horses. That's not the case anymore. And as, sort of weak as that field was last time, he was impressive winning.
We've got the 2 3-year-olds in the 4th and 5th slots, Hot Rod Charlie, Medina Spirit. Hot Rod Charlie got that well-deserved Grade 1 win last time out in the Pennsylvania Derby, defeating Midnight Bourbon, the horse Essential Quality beat in the Travers. How good is Hot Rod Charlie? We see with that 111 Beyer, he is right there with these horses.
Yeah, he's really good. He's, as of now, after that Pennsylvania Derby, he is the fastest 3-year-old on the way into this race. And I just think you have to love about this horse, Dennis. He's just getting better with every start. I think you could sort of say that about all 3 of these 3-year-olds in the top 5, though. It does feel like they're getting better towards the end of the year, and that's how you want to come into a race like the Breeders' Cup. Hot Rod Charlie, very good. His last race, the best one yet. He does not need the lead to be effective. I think he does want to be close, Dan, but I don't think he needs the lead to be effective.
As we roll through 6 through 10, we will discuss the number 5, Medina Spirit. Does he need the lead to win? He's the Kentucky Derby winner for now, and he really ran an eye-opening race against older horses in the Awesome again last time out. He never gave them a chance and just showed them his heels from start to finish. But does he need the lead? Does the presence of Knicks Go and some of these other speeds really hurt him?
I mean, it does sort of seem like, at least to me, among those top 5 horses anyway, especially the 3-year-olds, he is the one who really is at his best when he can get to the front in his races. He's just a really hard horse to pass, a real hard trier. He was impressive most recently against older horses. I think that was a pretty weak field, Dan. He's another one stepping way up in class for this Breeders' Cup, but another one who's doing it at the right time. His last race was the best one yet.
Bill Mott's turned around the 6th horse on our list. That is Art Collector, recent winner of the Woodward, but again, in gate-to-wire fashion. He'll be stepping up in class. He'll be stepping up in distance in around 2 turns when he ships to Del Mar. Another horse that can add to the pace picture. Is he a notch below, or is he all of a sudden found himself among the elite in the division?
I don't know. He's a pretty nice horse. I mean, I think he's now 5 for 5 at a 1.125 miles. So, the 1.25 miles, I guess, could be a question for him. But listen, he's going to be a great price in the Breeders' Cup. Maybe there's enough working against him that you don't really want to take any kind of a shot with him, Dan. But I just feel like he's going to be a very fair price. Overall, he's very consistent. He's starting to run faster races, too. I mean, there are things to like about our collector.
Is it a mistake to give up on Maxfield, who finished behind Art Collector as the favorite in the Woodward, first-time blinkers? He had every chance. On paper, it looked like that was going to be his first Grade 1 since a 2-year-old. It didn't work out. Have you given up on him?
Yeah, I mean, he's, at least to me, he's just one who hasn't really progressed. He had an awful lot of potential early on. The injuries, probably caught up with him. I didn't really see his excuse last time. Our collector's nice and had to jump on him. I didn't think Maxfield ran a great race most recently. We'll see if he can take a step forward. Another horse, though, Dan, I guess if you want to keep the faith, you haven't gotten very many good prices on him, and you will in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
As you will on horses 8 through 10, horses that have to find a little bit to beat the top ones in the Classic, but have a puncher's chance if the pace is electric. Thoughts on Dr. Post, Tripoli, Express Train, any one of the 3 interest you at all against the big guns?
I mean, I wouldn't say they necessarily interest me, but this is a race. I think it's, it's important to keep an open mind. These are all 3 quality horses. They could land in a Breeders' Cup Classic here, where not only might the distance be a question for several of these horses, but they could go in front of these horses and set this race up for somebody, and it could be anybody to be running at the end and come pick up the pieces.
3 of the top 5 on DRF's list, they are 3-year-olds, headed by Belmont and Travers winner Essential Quality, last year's 2-year-old champion. But Knicks Go, the older horse and last year's Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner, tops the list. This Breeders' Cup Classic could come down to pace.